Good morning. You're listening to WVUD HD2 Newark, The Basement. I'm Zach Davis, and this is Our Brief Hour, where we celebrate the poetry and prose that make our brief hour on this earth a beautiful one. Today, I'm joined again by my mom, Lisa.
Hi.
We'll be doing part 2 of our examination of sleep in Shakespeare's plays and sonnets. Last week, we looked at sleeplessness and the fever dreams of those who were plagued with bad consciences. And this week, we are looking at the sleep of lovers, which can sometimes be prophetic and sometimes be misleading, sometimes can hurt, and other times can heal. We start off with Romeo from Romeo and Juliet. After he's been banished for killing Juliet's cousin, Tybalt, has a dream of his reunion with her. If I may trust the flattering truth of sleep, my dreams presage some joyful news at hand. My bosom's lord sits lightly in his throne, and all this day an accustomed spirit lifts me above the ground with cheerful thoughts. I dreamt my lady came and found me dead, strange dream that gives a dead man leave to think, and breathed such life with kisses in my lips that I revived and was an emperor. Ah, me, how sweet is love itself possessed, when but love's shadows are so rich in joy. Of course, sadly, Juliet does come upon Romeo, dead, but all the kisses in the world will not be able to revive him. We come next to Cymbeline, one of Shakespeare's less well-known plays, which revolves around the love of a commoner named Posthumus Leonatus for Imogen, the daughter of Cymbeline, who happens to be the king of Britain. Through a whole series of typical misunderstandings, Posthumus ends up banished for having married Imogen and thinking eventually, through some duplicity, that Imogen is unfaithful to him. So Imogen dresses up as a boy and runs around Britain, and it all turns into a big mess. In this scene, the kind, noble family that has taken her in believes she's dead because she's taken a potion presented to her by an untrustworthy servant named Pisanio, and they lay her unknowingly next to her intended husband, a man named Clotus, who's a total clod, and this is their lament for the seemingly dead Imogen. Fear no more the heat of the sun, nor the furious winter's rages. Thou thy worldly task hast done, home art gone and ta'en thy wages. Golden lads and girls all must, as chimney sweepers, come to dust. Fear no more the frown of the great, thou art past the tyrant's stroke. Care no more to clothe and eat, to thee the reed is as the oak. The sceptre learning, physic must all follow this and come to dust. Fear no more the lightning flash, nor the all-dreaded thunderstone. Fear not slander, censure rash, thou hast finished joy and moan. All lovers young, all lovers must consign to thee and come to dust. No exorciser harm thee, no nor witchcraft charm thee. Ghost unlaid forbear thee, nothing ill come near thee. Quiet consummation have, and renowned be thy grave. Moments later, once she's been left alone, Imogen wakes up and sees Clotus's headless body next to her and mistakes it for the body of her lover, Posthumus.
Yes, sir, to Milford Haven, which is the way? I thank you. By yond bush, pray, how far thither? Odds pittikins, can it be 6 mile yet? I have gone all night. Faith, I'll lie down and sleep. But soft, no bedfellow? Oh, gods and goddesses, these flowers are like the pleasures of the world. This bloody man, the care on't. I hope I dream, for so I thought I was a cave-keeper and cook to honest creatures, but 'tis not so. 'Twas but a bolt of nothing, shot at nothing, which the brain makes of fumes. Our very eyes are sometimes like our judgments, blind. Good faith, I tremble still with fear, but if there be yet left in heaven as small a drop of pity as a wren's eye, feared gods, a part of it. The dream's here still. Even when I wake, it is without me as within me, not imagined, felt. A headless man? The garments of Posthumus? I know the shape of his leg. This is his hand, his foot mercurial, his martial thigh, the bronze of Hercules, but his jovial face. Murder in heaven, how? 'Tis gone. Oh, Posthumus, alas, where is thy head? Where's that? Ay me, where's that? Pisanio might have taken thee at the heart and left this head on. How should this be? Pisanio? 'Tis he, and Cloten? Malice and lucre in them have laid this woe here. Oh, 'tis pregnant, pregnant. The drug he gave me, which he said was precious and cordial to me, have I not found it murderous to the senses? That confirms it home. This is Pisanio's deed, and Cloten. Oh, give colour to my pale cheek with thy blood, that we the horrider may seem to those which chance to find us. Oh, my lord, my lord.
Doesn't that sound kind of like Macbeth when he's saying, life's a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing, when she says, I hope I dream, but 'tis not so, 'twas but a bolt of nothing, shot at nothing. So it's interesting that Imogen compares what she thinks is the dead Posthumus to Jove, because after another baffling series of misunderstandings, Posthumus ends up getting taken prisoner during a battle where he poses as a Roman soldier in order to get killed, because he thinks a mistake he's made has betrayed Imogen to be murdered. So Posthumus purposefully gets himself captured and is set in jail, and he has a dream where all his ancestors plead with Jupiter, Jove, to spare Posthumus from this unjust fate. Jupiter agrees to help Posthumus and leaves a tablet lying on Posthumus's sleeping body. So Posthumus wakes up. Sleep, thou hast been a grandsire, and begot a father to me, and thou hast created a mother and 2 brothers. But, oh, scorn, gone! They went hence so soon as they were born. And so I am awake. Poor wretches that depend on greatness' favor dream as I have done, wake and find nothing. But alas, I swerve. Many dream not to find, neither deserve, and yet are steeped in favors. So am I that have this golden chance and know not why. What fairies haunt this ground? A book? Oh, rare one! Be not, as is our fangled world, a garment nobler than that it covers? Let thy effect so follow, to be most unlike our courtiers, as good as promise. When as a lion's whelp shall turn, to himself unknown, without seeking find, and be embraced by a piece of tender air, and when from a stately cedar shall be lopped branches, which, being dead many years, shall after revive, be jointed to the old stock and freshly grown, then shall Posthumus end his miseries, Britain be fortunate, and flourish in peace and plenty. 'Tis still a dream, or else such stuff as madmen tongue and brain not, either both or nothing, or senseless speaking, or a speaking such as sense cannot untie. But what is it? The action of my life is like it, which I'll keep, if but for sympathy.
Come, sir, are you ready for death?
Over-roasted, rather. Ready long ago.
Hanging is the word, sir. If you be ready for that, you are well cooked.
So if I prove a good repast to the spectators, the dish pays the shot.
A heavy reckoning for you, sir. But the comfort is, you shall be called to no more payments. Fear no more tavern bills, which are often the sadness of parting, as the procuring of mirth. You come in flint for want of meat, depart reeling with too much drink. Sorry that you have paid too much, and sorry that you are paid too much. Purse and brain both empty, the brain the heavier for being too light, the purse too light, being drawn of heaviness. Of this contradiction you shall now be quit. Ah, the charity of a penny cord! It sums up thousands in a trice. You have no true debitor and creditor but it. Of what's past is, and to come the discharge. Your next, sir, is pen, book, and counters. So the acquaintance follows.
I am merrier to die than thou art to live.
Indeed, sir, he that sleeps feels not the toothache, but a man that were to sleep your sleep, and a hangman to help him to bed, I think he would change places with his officer. For, look you, sir, you know not which way you shall go.
Yes, indeed I do, fellow.
Your death has eyes instead, then. I have not seen him so pictured. You must either be directed by some that take upon them to know, or do take upon yourself that which I am sure you do not know, or jump the after inquiry on your own peril, and how you shall speed in your journey's end. I think you'll never return to tell one.
I tell thee, fellow, there are none want eyes to direct them the way I am going, but such as wink and will not use them.
What an infinite mock this is, that a man should have the best use of eyes to see the way of blindness. I'm sure hanging's the way of winking.
So here again, sleep is a death, and death is referred to as sleep, and you get the sense that the jailer is talking this way because he's kind of afraid to say death. He that sleeps feels not the toothache. And while he's being flip about it, talking about the things that he's afraid to see, gives us the sense that this is a much crueler and more terrifying sleep than he's really willing to admit. And there are a few really interesting lines here. The jailer ends by saying, what an infinite mock this is. And the first thing I think of is Hamlet looking at Yorick's skull, realizing that everyone must come to dust. And the first thing he says is, he was a man of infinite jest. And even he comes to dust in the end. I also thought there was a really kind of beautiful line the jailer had earlier. When you depart this life, reeling with too much drink, you're sorry that you have paid too much, and sorry that you are paid too much. And I don't know, something in that really speaks to me.
Sorry that you put out so much for life, and sorry that life has given you more than you deserved.
That's the way I hear it. And in that, it sounds a lot like Hamlet's famous To Be or Not to Be, where he's talking about all the things life throws at you. You know, what's the point of continuing living? And the jailer says, well, he that sleeps feels not the toothache. And Hamlet says, I agree. Hamlet would say, I agree. The only trouble is, what comes after may be even worse. And this is certainly what Posthumus thinks.
And then there's this notion the first jailer concludes with, which is that contradiction will now be put to bed, literally.
And even in the different sleeps of the characters, we see a contradiction. The sleep of Posthumus indicates that he is going to be saved, but he wakes up and thinks it's just been this awful dream, which is exactly what Imogen wants to be the case when she looks at Cloten, but realizes that it's not a dream. And the jailer all this time is saying, well, maybe dreams aren't so bad compared to what you experience when you awake. Of course, as is the way of things, Posthumus gets saved at the last minute. He ends up marrying Imogen, and everyone lives happily ever after, basically, which is it's kind of unexpected from from our experience with Shakespeare's tragedies, but nonetheless welcome. We need to pause briefly for a quick promo. Welcome back. We move on from a pair of ultimately happy lovers to a pair of ultimately unhappy lovers, Othello and Desdemona. Othello, the Moor of Venice, is a renowned soldier, and one of his underlings, Iago, becomes very jealous of him. So Iago resolves to get his revenge on Othello by sowing discord between Othello and Othello's beautiful and faithful wife, Desdemona. Iago plants the rumor that Desdemona has been unfaithful, and Othello believes it. So here, Othello has heard the rumor, has believed it, and has ordered Desdemona to dismiss her lady's maid, friend, and attendant, Emilia. I'll be Emilia.
I'll be Desdemona.
This is late at night in Desdemona's chamber. How goes it now? He looks gentler than he did.
He says he will return incontinent. He hath commanded me to go to bed, and bade me to dismiss you.
Dismissed me?
It was his bidding. Therefore, good Emilia, give me my nightly wearing, and adieu. We must not now displease him.
I would you had never seen him.
So would not I. My love doth so approve him, that even his stubbornness, his checks, his frowns, prithee unpin me, have grace and favour in them.
I have laid those sheets you bade me on the bed.
All's one. Good faith, how foolish are our minds! If I do die before thee, prithee, shroud me in one of those same sheets.
Come, you talk.
My mother had a maid called Barbara. She was in love, and he she loved proved mad, and did forsake her. She had a song of Willow, an old thing it was, but it expressed her fortune, and she died singing it. That song tonight will not go from my mind. I have much to do, but to go hang my head all at one side and sing it like poor Barbara. Prithee, dispatch.
Shall I go fetch your nightgown?
No, unpin me here. The poor soul sat sighing by a sycamore tree. Sing all the green willow. Her hand on her bosom, her head on her knee. Sing willow, willow, willow. The fresh streams ran by her, and murmured her moans. Sing willow, willow, willow. Her salt tears fell from her and softened the stones. Lay by these. Sing willow, willow, willow. Prithee, hie thee, he'll come anon. Sing all a green willow must be my garland. Let nobody blame him, his scorn I approve. Nay, that's not next. Hark, who is't that knocks?
It's the wind.
I called my love false love, but what said he then? Sing willow, willow, willow. If I court more women, you'll couch with more men. So get thee gone. Good night. 8 eyes do itch. Doth that bode weeping?
'Tis neither here nor there.
I have heard it said so. Oh, these men, these men. Dost thou in conscience think, tell me, Amelia, that there be women do abuse their husbands in such gross kind?
There be some such, no question.
Wouldst thou do such a deed for all the world?
Why? Would not you?
No, by this heavenly light.
Nor I neither by this heavenly light. I might do it as well in the dark.
Wouldst thou do such a deed for all the world?
The world's a huge thing. It is a great price for a small vice.
In troth, I think thou wouldst not.
In troth, I think I should, and undo't when I had done. Marry, I would not do such a thing for a joint ring, nor for measures of lawn, nor for gowns, petticoats, nor caps, nor any petty exhibition. But for the whole world, why, who would not make her husband a cuckold to make him a monarch? I should venture purgatory for it.
Beshrew me, if I would do such a wrong for the whole world.
Why, the wrong is but a wrong of the world, and having the world for your labor, 'tis a wrong in your own world, and you might quickly make it right.
I do not think there is any such woman.
Yes, a dozen, and as many to the vantage as would store the world they played for. But I do think it is their husbands' faults if wives do fall. Say that they slack their duties and pour our treasures into foreign laps, or else break out in peevish jealousies, throwing restraint upon us. Or say they strike us, or scant our former, having in despite, why, we have galls, and though we have some grace, yet we have some revenge. Let husbands know their wives have sense like them. They see and smell, and have their palates both for sweet and sour, as husbands have. What is it that they do when they change us for others? Is it sport? I think it is. And doth affection breed it? I think it doth. Is't frailty that thus errs? It is so, too. And have we not affections, desires for sport, and frailty as men have? Then let them use us well, else let them know the ills we do, their ills, instruct us so.
Good night, good night. Heaven me such uses send, not to pick bad from bad, but by bad mend.
Desdemona falls asleep. After a time, Othello enters and stands over her sleeping body. It is the cause, my soul. Let me not name it to you, you chaste stars. It is the cause. Yet I'll not shed her blood, nor scar that whiter skin of hers than snow, and smooth as monumental alabaster. Yet she must die, else she'll betray more men. Put out the light, and then put out the light. If I quench thee, thou flaming minister, I can again thy former light restore, should I repent me. But once put out thy light, thou cunning pattern of excelling nature, I know not where is that Promethean heat that can thy light relume. When I have plucked the rose, I cannot give it vital growth again. It must needs wither. I'll smell it on the tree. Ah, balmy breath, that dost almost persuade justice to break her sword. One more. Be thus when thou art dead, and I will kill thee, and love thee after. One more, and this the last. So sweet was ne'er so fatal. I must weep, but they are cruel tears. This sorrow's heavenly, it strikes where it doth love. She wakes. After a brief conversation, Othello smothers her with the pillow, and she dies. I think in this case the sleep is more just presaging the death, and yet even in sleep she's so beautiful that she almost persuades Othello not to kill her. And what I think he's saying is that once she's dead, she'll be more virtuous again. That it will sort of cure her of her imperfections.
It seems that he believes, or at least hopes, that in death She looks as sweet as she looks in sleep.
So we move to King Lear, who is driven out into a roaring storm by the betrayal of two daughters he thought he could trust, and finally enters into the care of the one daughter who actually loves him that in the beginning he scorned. So he is sleeping a healing sleep after the awful exertions of the night before, and his daughter Cordelia is talking to the doctor over his sleeping body.
How does the king?
Madam sleeps still.
Oh, you kind gods, cure this great breach in his abused nature, the untuned and jarring senses. Oh, wind up of this child-changed father.
So please your majesty that we may wake the king, he hath slept long.
Be governed by your knowledge, and proceed in the sway of your own will. Is he arrayed?
Ay, madam, in the heaviness of his sleep we put fresh garments on him. Be by, good madam, when we do awake him. I doubt not of his temperance.
Very well.
Please you draw near. Louder the music there.
O my dear father, restoration hang thy medicine on my lips, and let this kiss repair those violent harms that my two sisters have in thy reverence made. Had you not been their father, these white flakes had challenged pity of them. Was this a face to be opposed against the warring winds, to stand against the deep dread-bolted thunder? In a most terrible and nimble stroke of quick cross-lightning? To watch poor Perdue with this thin helm, mine enemy's dog, though he had bit me, should have stood that night against my fire. And wast thou fain, poor father, to hovel thee with swine and rogues forlorn in short and musty straw? Alack, alack! 'Tis wonder that thy life and wits at once had not concluded all. He wakes. Speak to him.
Madam, do you, 'tis fittest.
How does my royal lord? How fares your majesty?
You do me wrong to take me out of the grave. Thou art a soul in bliss, but I am bound upon a wheel of fire, that my own tears do scald like molten lead.
Sir, do you know me?
You are a spirit, I know. When did you die?
Still far wide.
Where have I been? Where am I? Fair daylight. I am mightily abused. I should e'en die with pity to see another thus. I know not what to say. I will not swear these are my hands. Let's see. I feel this pinprick. Would I were assured of my condition.
Oh, look upon me, sir, and hold your hands in benediction o'er me. No, sir, you must not kneel.
Pray do not mock me. I am a very foolish, fond old man, 80 and upwards, not an hour more nor less. And, to deal plainly, I fear I am not in my perfect mind. Methinks I should know you, and know this man, yet I am doubtful, for I am mainly ignorant what place this is, and all the skill I have remembers not these garments, nor I know not where I did lodge last night. Do not laugh at me, for as I am a man, I think this lady to be my child Cordelia.
And so I am.
Be your tears wet? Yes, faith. I pray, weep not. If you have poison for me, I will drink it. I know you do not love me, for your sisters have, as I do remember, done me wrong. You have some cause. They have not.
No cause, no cause.
Am I in France?
In your own kingdom, sir.
Do not abuse me.
Will't please your highness walk?
You must bear with me. Pray you now, forget and forgive. I am old and foolish. So here the kiss of someone who loves the sleeper is actually healing, and it brings Lear out of his sleep.
And it gives Cordelia what she wishes for.
Another chance to interact with him.
A chance to be recognized. This is Sonnet 27, which in many ways feels a lot like the two sonnets we read last week. It is very much tied to sleep and the beloved. Weary with toil, I haste me to my bed. The dear repose for limbs with travel tired. But then begins a journey in my head to work my mind when body's work's expired. For then my thoughts, from far where I abide, intend a zealous pilgrimage to thee, and keep my drooping eyelids open wide, looking on darkness which the blind do see. Save that my soul's imaginary sight presents thy shadow to my sightless view, which, like a jewel hung in ghastly night, makes black night beauteous, and her old face new. Lo, thus by day my limbs, by night my mind, for thee, and for myself no quiet find.
The dream of the lover here is unhealthy to the narrator. He's not finding quiet because his mind can't get away from her, which is an interesting spin on the typical lover's dreams, which are great gifts of extra time spent together. We need to take a quick break for a public service announcement. Welcome back. Speaking of lovers spending time with each other while asleep in a moderately unhealthy way, we move now to A Midsummer Night's Dream. The plot of this is a little confusing. In A Midsummer Night's Dream, 4 days will quickly steep themselves in night. 4 nights will quickly dream away the time. We have Oberon, the king of the fairies, who has a squabble with his wife, Titania, and resolves to get back at her by making her fall in love with a commoner, a goofy commoner. The commoner Titania falls in love with is a guy named Nick Bottom, who is part of a little troupe of rude mechanicals, sort of these rural artisans, who get together to put on a play in celebration of a wedding, which is happening between a noble named Demetrius and a noble named Hermia. Demetrius used to love another noblewoman named Helena, but he's sort of developed a crush recently on Hermia, and his parents and her parents arranged the match. Hermia, unfortunately, is completely in love with another noble named Lysander, and Lysander also loves Hermia, and sadly, off to one side a little bit, a fourth noble named Helena is desperately in love with Demetrius. So, just to recap, Lysander loves Hermia, Helena loves Demetrius, Demetrius is marrying Hermia. So Lysander and Hermia decide to elope, and they end up in this forest, and Demetrius follows to expose them because he's jealous that Lysander and Hermia are together. King Oberon, after having his jester and loyal servant Robin Goodfellow, who's also known as Puck, drip little love drops into Titania's eyes to make her fall in love with Bottom, King Oberon decides to do a good deed and sort out these lovers' troubles, to get Demetrius to fall in love with Helena, so there are 2 happy couples and no more overlaps. So we start with Oberyn talking to Robin, considering the prank they're about to play on Titania. Enter Oberyn.
And Robin.
Hast thou the flower there? Welcome, wanderer.
Aye, there it is.
I pray thee give it me. I know a bank where the wild thyme blows, where oxlips and the nodding violet grows, quite over-canopied with luscious woodbine, with sweet musk roses, and with eglantine. There sleeps Titania some time of the night, lulled in these flowers with dances and delight. And there the snake throws her enamelled skin weed wide enough to wrap a fairy in. And with the juice of this I'll streak her eyes, and make her full of hateful fantasies. Take thou some of it, and seek through this grove. O Titania, what thou seest when thou dost wake, do it for thy true love take. Love and languish for his sake, be it ounce or cat or bear, pard or boar with bristling hair. In thy eye that shall appear when thou wakest, it is thy dear. Wake when some vile thing is near. Oh, and Robin, a sweet Athenian lady is in love with a disdainful youth. Anoint his eyes, but do it when the next thing he espies may be the lady. Thou shalt know the man by the Athenian garments he hath on. Effect it with some care, that he may prove more fond on her than she upon her love. And look thou meet me ere the first cock crow.
So this flower produces kind of a juice that when you drip it into the eye of someone, they open their eyes and the first thing they see, the first person they see, is the person they fall in love with. So sleep is the pending moment here. So sleep is preparing you for true love.
And it also comes with great suspense and some risk, because, of course, since this is happening early in the play, things are going to get screwed up. There's no way to absolutely guarantee that the first thing you see is going to be the first thing that Oberyn wants you to see, which of course happens. He sends Robin out to drip the flower juice into Demetrius's eyes, so Demetrius will wake up and see Helena and fall as in love with Helena as she is in love with him. But that's not the way it works out.
It's interesting too that, this can only happen while they're sleeping.
Right, as if there's some suspension of the reason they have when they're awake. When they're relaxed and asleep, they're more susceptible to persuasion. And we would hope to their true desires being brought to the surface. Like, we hope, of course, that Demetrius really has a thing for Helena. He used to, apparently. And then he developed this crush on Hermia. So sleep is sort of a lowering of the guard as well.
It's a vulnerable state.
Both physically, because Robin is able to drip this flower juice on them, and emotionally. So now enter Lysander
and Hermia
in the woods. Fair love, you faint with wandering in the wood, and to speak troth, I have forgotten our way. We'll rest us, Hermia, if you think it good, and tarry for the comfort of the day.
Be it so, Lysander. Find you out a bed, for I upon this bank will rest my head.
One turf shall serve as pillow for us both. One heart, one bed, two bosoms, and one troth.
Nay, good Lysander, for my sake, my dear, lie further off yet. Do not lie so near.
Oh, take the sense, sweet, of my innocence. Love takes the meaning in love's conference. I mean that my heart unto yours is knit, so that but one heart we can make of it, two bosoms interchained with an oath, so then two bosoms and a single troth. Then by your side no bedroom me deny, for lying so, Hermia, I do not lie.
Lysander riddles very prettily. Now much beshrew my manners and my pride, if Hermia meant to say Lysander lied. But, gentle friend, For love and courtesy lie further off in human modesty. Such separation, as may well be said, becomes a virtuous bachelor and a maid. So far be distant, and good night, sweet friend. Thy love ne'er alter till thy sweet life end.
Amen, amen to that fair prayer, say I, and then end life when I end loyalty. Here is my bed, sleep give thee all his rest.
With half that wish, the wisher's eyes be pressed.
Both fall asleep.
Enter Robin. Through the forest I have gone, but Athenian found I none, on whose eyes I might approve this flower's force in stirring love. Night and silence! Who is here? Weeds of Athens he doth wear. This is he, my master said, despised the Athenian maid. And here the maiden, sleeping sound on the dank and dirty ground. Pretty so, she durst not lie near this lack love, this kill courtesy. Churl upon thy eyes I throw all the power this charm doth owe. When thou wakest, let love forbid sleep his seat on thy eyelid. So, awake when I am gone, for I must now to Oberon.
So Robin just put the drops on Lysander, who's already genuinely in love with Hermia, who loves him back, when Robin was supposed to do it to Demetrius. Which brings up another interesting thing, that in sleep, because we can't talk back, because we're not conscious, there's also a sort of lack of identity that we have.
And an absence of choice. And an inability to set the score straight.
Yeah, you have to hope that that there's someone like Oberon hanging around to settle the score.
It's like those sitcom sort of things where you want to just wrangle the person's neck and say, "Oh, just say it."
So, of course, it's not going to be as easy for the lovers yet. Lysander has the love drops in his eyes.
Hermia is lying there asleep, and enter Helena.
Lysander wakes up.
But who is here? Lysander, on the ground, dead or asleep. I see no blood, no wound. Lysander, if you live, good sir, awake.
And run through fire I will for thy sweet sake. Transparent Helena, nature shows art that through thy bosom makes me see thy heart. Where is Demetrius? Oh, how fit a word is that vile name to perish on my sword.
Do not say so. Lysander, do not say so. What though he love your Hermia? Lord, what though? Yet Hermia still loves you. Then be content.
Content with Hermia? No, I do repent the tedious minutes I with her have spent. Not Hermia, but Helena I love, who will not change a raven for a dove. The will of man is by his reason swayed, and reason says you are the worthier maid. Things growing are not ripe until their season, so I, being young, till now ripe not to reason. And touching now the point of human skill, reason becomes the marshal to my will and leads me to your eyes, where I o'erlook love's stories, written in love's richest book.
Wherefore was I to this keen mockery born? When at your hands did I deserve this scorn? It's not enough, young man, that I did never, no, nor never can deserve a sweet look from Demetrius's eye, but you must flout my insufficiency? Good troth, you do me wrong. Good sooth you do, in such disdainful manner me to woo. But fare you well. Perforce I must confess I thought you lord of more true gentleness. Oh, that a lady of one man refused should of another therefore be abused. Helena leaves.
She sees not Hermia. Hermia, sleep thou there, and never mayst thou come Lysander near. For as a surfeit of the sweetest things the deepest loathing to the stomach brings, or as the heresies that men do leave are hated most of those they did deceive, so thou, my surfeit and my heresy, of all be hated, but the most of me. And, all my powers, address your love and might to honor Helena, and to be her knight. Lysander exits.
Hermia wakes up from a nightmare. Help me, Lysander, help me! Do thy best to pluck this crawling serpent from my breast. Oh, ay me, for pity, what a dream was here! Lysander, look how I do quake with fear. Methought a serpent ate my heart away, and you sat smiling at his cruel prey. Lysander! What? Removed? Lysander, lord. What? Out of hearing? Gone? No sound, no word? Alack, where are you? Speak, and if you hear, speak of all loves. I swoon almost with fear. No? Then I well perceive you are not nigh. Either death or you I'll find immediately.
So she sets off to find Lysander. Once Oberon figures out that Puck is screwed up, he heads towards Demetrius, who is also sleeping, and plans to set things right. Enter Oberon.
And Robin, looking over Demetrius.
What hast thou done? Thou hast mistaken quite, and laid the love-juice on some true love's sight. Of thy misprision must perforce ensue some true love turned, and not a false turn true.
Then fate o'errules that one man holding troth, a million fail, confounding oath on oath.
About the wood go swifter than the wind, and Helena of Athens look thou find. All fancy sick she is, and pale of cheer with sighs of love that cost the fresh blood dear. By some illusion see thou bring her here. I'll charm his eyes against she do appear.
I go, look how I go, swifter than arrow from the Tartar's bow.
Flower of this purple dye, hit with Cupid's archery, sink an apple of his eyes. When his love he doth espy, let her shine as gloriously as Venus of the sky. When thou wakest, if she be by, beg of her for remedy. So the plan succeeds. Demetrius wakes up and sees Helena and falls deeply in love with her. So now, of course, both men have gone from loving Hermia to loving Helena, and they start to think of each other as bitter rivals. Like Lysander said in the beginning, where he was going to run Demetrius through with his sword. Except now they're going to duel over Helena instead. Once again enter Oberon.
And Robin.
Thou seest these lovers seek a place to fight. Hie therefore, Robin, overcast the night, the starry welkin cover thou anon with drooping fog as black as Acheron, and lead these testy rivals so astray as one come not within another's way. Like to Lysander sometime frame thy tongue, then stir Demetrius up with bitter wrong, and sometime rail thou like Demetrius. And from each other look thou lead them thus, till o'er their brows death counterfeiting sleep with leaden legs and batty wings doth creep. Then crush this herb into Lysander's eye, whose liquor hath this virtuous property, to take from thence all error with his might, and make his eyeballs roll with wonted sight. When they next wake, all this derision shall seem a dream and fruitless vision. and back to Athens shall the lovers wend, with league whose date till death shall never end. Whiles I in this affair do thee employ, I'll to my queen, and beg her Indian boy, and then I will her charmed eyes release from monsters' view, and all things shall be peace.
My fairy lord, this must be done with haste. For night's swift dragons cut the clouds full fast, and yonder shines Aurora's harbinger, at whose approach ghosts wandering here and there troop home to churchyards. Damned spirits all that in crossways and floods have burial, already to their wormy beds are gone. For fear lest day should look their shames upon, they wilfully themselves exile from light, and must for aye consort with black-browed night.
But we are spirits of another sort. I with the morning's love have oft made sport, and, like a forester, the groves may tread even till the eastern gate, all fiery red, opening on Neptune with fair blessed beams, turns into yellow gold his salt green streams. But notwithstanding, haste, make no delay, we may effect this business yet ere day. Not only do they need to prolong night to create an artificial sleep, but the sleep intended is the sleep that brings peace back, that cools these two hot-headed men. And it reminds me kind of the sleep of King Lear in that sense, because it's recuperative in nature. Although in this case, it's also artificially, affected artificially.
So, Robin approaches Lysander. On the ground, sleep sound, I'll apply to your eye, gentle lover, remedy. When thou wakest, thou takest true delight in the sight of thy former lady's eye, and the country proverb known that every man shall take his own, in your waking shall be shown. Jack shall have Jill, naught shall go ill. The man shall have his mare again, and all shall be well.
Once his errand is done, Robin rejoins Oberon, and they both stand over the sleeping Titania. Titania has gone through the whole play besotted with Bottom, the rude mechanical who has the head of an ass, actually, as a result of a prank of Robin's. Robin literally turned his head into the head of a donkey, which just sort of underscores how dopey Bottom has been through this whole play. And we'll see that later when Bottom and his troupe of rude mechanicals put on the play that they had planned for the wedding. But for now, Oberon has decided that enough is enough. He'll cure Titania, and everything will get back to normal. Welcome, good Robin. Seest thou this sweet sight? Her dotage now I do begin to pity, for meeting her of late behind the wood, seeking sweet favours for this hateful fool, I did upbraid her, and fall out with her. For she his hairy temples then had rounded with coronet of fresh and fragrant flowers, and that same dew which sometime on the buds was wont to swell like round and orient pearls, stood now within the pretty Floriet's eyes, like tears that did their own disgrace bewail. When I had at my pleasure taunted her, and she in mild terms begged my patience, I then did ask of her her changeling child, which straight she gave to me, and her fairy sent to bear him to my bower in fairyland. And now I have the boy, I will undo this hateful imperfection of her eyes. And, gentle Puck, take this transformed scalp from off the head of this Athenian swain, that he, awakening when the others do, may all to Athens back again repair, and think no more of this night's accidents, but as the fierce vexation of a dream. But first I will release the fairy queen. Be as thou wast wont to be, see as thou wast wont to see. Dian's bud or Cupid's flower hath such force and blessed power. Now, my Titania, wake you, my sweet queen.
Titania wakes up. My Oberon, what visions have I seen? Methought I was enamoured of an ass.
That's one of my favorite lines in this play. Sleep, in this case, also gives Oberon the chance to manipulate Titania into doing what he's wanted her to do all along. She adopted someone just called the Indian boy, and Oberon wanted the Indian boy, but Titania wouldn't give him up. So this is the spat that Oberon and Titania had that led to this prank. And it's a little creepy to realize that Oberon puts Titania asleep in order to manipulate her. You know, we're a little less comfortable with that than with the good-hearted manipulation of the lovers. So now it is officially morning. All the Athenians, the four nobles, are awake. They love the right people, and the Duke, who's the ruler of Athens at this time, addresses all four of them and says, "How comes this gentle concord in the world, that hatred is so far from jealousy to sleep by hate and fear no enmity?" And the lads and ladies aren't quite sure. "My lord," I shall reply amazedly, half sleep, half waking. "But as yet, I swear, I cannot truly say how I came here. But as I think, for truly I would speak, and now I do bethink me so it is, I came with Hermia hither. Our intent was to be gone from Athens, where we might, without the peril of the Athenian law. These things seem small and undistinguishable, like far-off mountains turned into clouds."
Methinks I see these things with parted eye, when everything seems double.
"Are you sure that we are awake? It seems to me that yet we sleep, we dream. Do not you think the Duke was here and bid us all follow him?"
Yea, and my father did bid us follow to the temple.
"Why then we are awake. Let's follow him, and by the way let us recount our dreams." So now Bottom wakes up. "When my cue comes, call me, and I will answer. My next is most fair Pyramus. Hey ho, Peter Quince, Flute the bellows mender, Snout the tinkerer, starveling, Gods, my life! Stolen hence and left me asleep. I have had a most rare vision. I have had a dream past the wit of man to say what dream it was. Man is but an ass if he go about to expound this dream. Methought I was... there is no man can tell what. Methought I was, and methought I had, but man is but a patched fool if he will offer to say what methought I had. The eye of man hath not heard, the ear of man hath not seen. Man's hand is not able to taste, his tongue to conceive, nor his heart to report what my dream was. I will go to Peter Quince to write a ballad of this dream. It shall be called Bottom's Dream, because it hath no bottom, and I will sing it in the latter end of a play before the Duke. Peradventure, to make it the more gracious, I shall sing it at her death. So the death Bottom is talking about is the death of Thisbe, the heroine of the play they're about to put on. Bottom plays Pyramus, who's a Romeo-like lover, and Thisbe is sort of a Juliet-like beloved. And this play ends with, well, we'll see. So I'll be playing Bottom, who's playing Pyramus, the lover.
And I'll be playing Flute, who plays Thisbe, the beloved.
Sweet moon, I thank thee for thy sunny beams. I thank thee, moon, for shining now so bright, for by thy gracious golden glittering gleams I trust to take of truest Thisbe sight. But stay, oh spite! But mark, poor knight, what dreadful dole is here? Eyes, do you see? How can it be? Oh dainty duck, oh dear! thy mantle good, what, stained with blood? Approach, ye Furies fell! O Fates, come, come! Cut thread and thrum! Quail, crush, conclude, and quell! Oh, wherefore, Nature, didst thou lions frame, since lion vile hath here deflowered my dear, which is, no, which was the fairest dame that lived, that loved, that liked, that looked with cheer? Come, tears, confound! Out, sword, and wound the pap of Pyramus, I that left pap, where heart doth hop. Thus die I, thus. Now I am dead, now I am fled, my soul is in the sky. Tongue, lose thy light, moon, take thy flight. Now die, 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 die.
Asleep, my love? What, dead, my dove? Oh, Pyramus, arise. Speak, speak. Quite dumb? Dead? Dead? A tomb must cover thy sweet eyes. These lily lips, this cherry nose, these yellow cowslip cheeks are gone, are gone. Lovers make moan, his eyes were green as leeks. O sisters three, come to me with hands as pale as milk. Lay them in gore, since you have shore with shears his thread of silk. Tongue, not a word. Come, trusty sword. Come, blade, my breast imbrue. Ow, and farewell, friends. Thus Thisbe ends. Adieu, adieu, adieu. My lord Theseus, will it please you to see the epilogue, or to hear a bergamasque dance between two of our company?
Theseus says hurriedly, No epilogue, I pray you. For your play needs no excuse, never excuse. For when the players are all dead, there need none to be blamed. Marry, if he that writ it had played Pyramus and hanged himself in Thisbe's garter, it would have been a fine tragedy. And so it is, truly, and very notably discharged. But come, your bergamasque, let your epilogue alone. Thanks very much for listening. Thank you, Mom, once again.
It's always fun. Thank you.
If you want to hear more of Our Brief Hour, you can check out our YouTube channel. Just go to YouTube, click on the Browse Channels button on the left and search Our Brief Hour. There you'll find recordings of every show, as well as some side projects that we've been doing. Have a happy Friday, have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week.
If we shadows have offended, think but this, and all is mended, that you have but slumbered here, while these visions did appear. And this weak and idle theme, no more yielding but a dream, gentles, do not reprehend. If you pardon, we will mend, and as I am an honest Puck, if we have unearned luck, now to scape the serpent's tongue, we will make amends ere long, else the Puck a liar call. So, good night unto you all. Give me your hands if we be friends, and Robin shall restore amends. Take care.